Welcome to a new video from Quadcopter News. In the previous video we have seen how standard Anafi has the same functionality as Anafi FPV that will be on the market in a few days. By a firmware update, today we are testing the new FPV features, which are basically two, the racing mode and the arcade mode. Let's see how to activate them and how to set them. Bearing in mind that any VR viewer can also be used in addition to the official cockpit Glasses 3 Parrot, which is supplied with the FPV kits. The important thing is that it has a button on the upper part and a button on the lower part to allow the setting and the modification of the flight mode through the stick controller by moving the sticks. As you can see, we have as many as 22 satellites connected, so the situation is more than optimal for the flight. Activating the racing mode, you get a more dynamic effect, in particular because the gimbal no longer stabilizes on the roll, the horizontal axis. Continues to stabilize on the vertical axis. Therefore, the effect is that during the turns you will see the horizon tilt. As you can see, this mode also works on the standard view. There is no need to activate the FPV mode. So, this effect is already shown on the smartphone display. In essence, the racing mode is nothing but a new set of flight values. For example, it changes the maximum inclination, reactivity, rotation speed and vertical speed. These values can also be changed manually depending on your preferences and your stick habits. Obviously, increasing or decreasing them changes the behavior of the drone in flight. Activating the FPV item, the smartphone prepares to be inserted inside the VR visors, and on the display of the smartphone appears the typical visual setup precisely to be seen by VR viewers. By pressing the top button of the VR visors, you access the settings menu. This button does nothing more than repeat simulate pressing the top of the smartphone display. By pressing the button located at the bottom, which simulates the display pressure of the smartphone camera is accessed. This is the standard FPV view with telemetry data overlay. There is a second possibility to visualize the data, that is the minimal one that can be always select using the sticks of the stick controller after pressing the upper button of the glasses, which in fact lives on the menu as we said before. This is the telemetry of the minimal FPV view. As you can see, it shows the essential data. When there is an event to highlight, the telemetry highlights it, such as for example the battery charge level. As you can see, the streaming video return is quite fluid, considering that it is a Wi-Fi transmission, even if optimized. We must also consider the latency, that is around 200-250 milliseconds. This latency value means that, for example, at 50 km per hour when we see an obstacle 3 meters away, we actually crashed into it. So this is to be taken into consideration. You don't have to fly too close to the objects. However, with a bit of habit being aware of this latency, the FPV can be used well. The second new Anafi mode, which is also a unique mode in the drone landscape, is the arcade mode. That does nothing but exploit the capacity of Anafi to move the gimbal to 90 degrees down and 90 degrees upwards. With the left stick we move the orientation of the gimbal camera, with the right stick we can go forward, back to the right and left. As you can see, if we move gimbal camera, Anafi goes towards the direction in which the camera is pointed. So if we point down gimbal camera, Anafi goes down in altitude and moves forward if we go forward with the right stick. The same applies to the other directions. The effect is practically unique, and the effect of onboard images is practically equivalent to that of a racing drone that makes evolutions. It is absolutely identical. It is also very spectacular because if you leave the stick in the middle, Anafi stops. Something impossible with a racing drone. A racing drone does not stop when they leave the sticks in the center. Instead, Anafi can give the impression of making a descent with the nose pointing down when in reality it is not pointed downwards, but it is only the gimbal pointed downwards. Anafi goes horizontally and is always lowered horizontally with this mode. The effect is that the Anafi nose points in the direction of the camera. With a racing drone, it is not possible to stop like right now. A drone racing at this point would have crashed in the grass. With Anafi it is possible, and this is the effect of this arcade mode. Obviously we have to get used to it because at the beginning it is quite counterintuitive, especially if you are piloting on site. If you pilot with video glasses, it's simpler. There is a tutorial that explains how to use the controls and also explains that the left stick, which normally it is used to tilt the camera, now it works to go upwards vertically. Well, this short test is over. Our conclusions are that Anafi in FPV mode is absolutely super fun. However, it is necessary pay attention to two factors. The first is the FOV. The camera has a FOV of 70-80 degrees. So quite narrow and does not allow to have an adequate lateral view for when piloting in FPV at speed. Instead, the racing drones have a FOV of at least 150 degrees. The second is the latency, that is the delay of the images, that is around 200-250 milliseconds with the best smartphones, so be careful when flying near obstacles. Thanks for watching.